North Carolina Courage. This is a side that finished last year third in the NWSL. Then they continued to kind of ride throughout the year. They were back-to-back champions in 18-19. They understand what it's like to win. They were back-to-back Challenge Cup winners in 22 and 23. They finished third throughout this season. But then they fell short. They end up losing Carolin and decision day, final day of the regular season, which seemed to be the piece that kind of made the castle crumble for North Carolina. They've now had an offseason to figure out what Sean Nahas is going to do without Carolin in the midfield. And he had a plan. He wanted to pick up some players, one of those being Ashley Sanchez during the draft, a huge trade that made earthquakes throughout the league. Even in Ashley Sanchez's world, she was shocked to see that she was going to North Carolina Courage. But otherwise, not that many changes. A couple of internationals coming in for North Carolina, but the game plan for Sean Nahas, he established it last year, Darian. He knows what he wants from his players and the style that we're going to see. How do the pieces that he has built at North Carolina fit into the style that Nahas wants to play?
Yeah, I think getting Ashley Sanchez was huge. Ashley Sanchez and Dani Weatherholt, to me, are two players that really stuck out in the acquisitions Coach Sean Nahas made in the offseason. Missing Carolin, Ashley Sanchez, I think we didn't get the best of her last year, whether that's, confidence-wise or just playing at the Spirit, which was kind of I don't know if anyone had a great season at the Spirit last year. It was a frustrating team to watch because they had all of the personnel to be a playoff team, a championship team. We've seen them, but it just wasn't coming together for reasons, whatever. Ashley Sanchez making this move, I think, is huge because she fits the style that Sean Nahas plays, which is the Spanish style, moving the ball really quickly, hyper-technical players, triangles all around the pitch with great vision. Everybody's making runs forward. I think it suits her really well, and we've seen her talk about how she's loved playing under Coach Sean Nahas, and he's given her the freedom to kind of operate the way she wants to on the field because she can go anywhere. She's one of those players that is able to float around the pitch, and she's so technical and savvy on the ball that it works out. It's kind of similar to how Carolin plays, where you're not going to see them in the same spot. They're never in, a focal position on the pitch. They're going where the ball is. They're going to break teams down. They're the orchestrators of the team. So I think having her come in is huge. I'm excited to see her. I hope she's feeling confident. We see her scoring goals, assisting, slicing and dicing, being saucy how she is on the ball. But it suits his style well. And I appreciate that they didn't make too many changes this offseason because I think he has his core. He has his identity and culture of what this team is. And any new players that come in, it's so much easier to get bought into that when you already have that established there. So I think this is going to be a championship team. And when Carolin comes back, I hope she comes back healthy and quick. I imagine her and Ashley Sanchez on the pitch together. Oh. But look at this midfield too. You think Denise O'Sullivan, Dani Weatherholt, Ashley Sanchez, if she plays the 10, or maybe she moves up top, I don't know. It's going to be hard to get through defensively between Weatherholt and O'Sullivan. And then the freedom that allows Sanchez to just roam around is going to be tough to break down. So I think this is going to be a really good team to watch. And it's going to be fun to see how they build on last year, because I think we all enjoyed watching them play, but there was just some pieces that were missing where maybe they overexerted themselves earlier in the game with this style that they were playing. And then I think that's how teams came back and were able to break them down and score on them. That's how we saw with Gotham. Who they lost to 2-0. But I think we're just going to see them progress and be one of those top 8 teams that we're going to be talking about.
Look, and I don't know if we're not talking enough about Miura, honestly.
Yeah.
Narumi Miura, I thought was one of their best players, if not MVP caliber for the team, for the Courage. I loved how quickly this player adapted to the Courage, to the coaching staff's tactics and instructions. I'm high on this team moving forward in 2024. I thought getting into the playoffs, hosting a playoff game was big for them after a lot of question marks from their prior offseason. And it turns out when you have the plan, when you present that, when you communicate that effectively to your players and there's buy-in, you can kind of see that work out for you. And it doesn't matter if it's players that you're asking to step up and, straight from the collegiate level into their first pro year, or internationals that you have asked or brought in and come in on loan. We saw players slot in and thrive in this North Carolina Courage system. So I am equally excited, if not more so, for the arrival of Ashley Sanchez to North Carolina. I'm with you 100%, Darian. There's, I think, the concept of giving a player like Sanchez the ability and freedom to just sort of go out there and be her is going to be incredible to witness. So I'm looking forward to what arguably could be a comeback season for this type of player in the Courage system. But I also like some of the other players that they brought in as well. I thought getting an experienced veteran NWSL player and Danny Weatherholt was massive for them. And I think probably one of their more underrated offseason signings was getting Bianca St. George to go ahead and try to fill that role or that hole that perhaps Emily Fox may have left behind. I think this is one of the more underrated wingback type of players in the league. I mean, BSG is someone who has absolutely got that dog in them. I think if you give them the assignment, she's going to go out and execute. So I'm very excited to see how these new pieces fit in into the Courage.
North Carolina plays against Houston Dash opening weekend. Does BSG get a yellow card in this match, Sandra?
I hope so. Let's go.
I hope so too.
I'm going to say yes, 100%.
Yeah, she does kind of bring that. She brings something to North Carolina that I honestly didn't think they had last year. Something a little bit raw. That's like, I don't want to say she doesn't have pretty soccer, because she does, but it's something a little bit more raw. Whereas North Carolina had a lot of pretty soccer players last year. And that's the style that Sean Nahas wants to play. And it will be successful, but you need someone that's just going to shake things up and go out there and be a little bit reckless and, I don't know, just be really gritty and blue collar on the ball. And that's what Bianca St. George brings. With Ashley Sanchez in this group, Darian, you alluded to it. I think she's going to play higher up the field, honestly, play into that attacking line. Hopefully this is a year for Ashley Sanchez to break out in her scoring ways, right? Get a lot of goals, like probably not competing for the Golden Boot, but she is going to be a consistent goal scorer on this side. Just look to find the goal, be really crafty. In talking with Sean Nahas ahead of the draft this year and leading into the offseason, he talked so much about how the identity of his group, he wanted it to be so strong so that he could go to players that he wanted to recruit to his side, whether it was Danny Weatherholt or Bianca St. George or even Feli Roch from Germany. Any of these players that he wanted to bring in, he could show them film of his team playing in 2023 and specifically say, this is how you will fit in. This is the role we want you to play. You can see it because I'm showing you tangible film where you need to fit in, which a lot of times that doesn't happen, right? You say, hey, I want to play this style. You're going to help us get there. And as a player, Darian, I know you can speak to this too. It's sometimes hard to picture yourself in a system that they're not playing right now. Hey, you say you want to keep the ball, you want to possess, but right now you're not. How am I going to be the one to change that? So that was a really big emphasis for Nahas to be able to do that. He made strides throughout 2023 to make that possible. And then he could go out and get the players specifically that he wanted.
Something great about Sean Nahas too. I've had the honor of playing under him. He was my coach. Him and his brother actually have coached me. But Sean, when I was at North Carolina, I got drafted there my first 2 years in the league, and worked with him a lot. He designs training the exact way you're going to play. So the expectation is always high. So to recruit players and be able to show them that and it reflect in every way of how you show up to training, how film is done, how you train post-training, I think is huge. And that's why he's got these players coming in. But they're going to be another scary team. I don't know.
Very scary. And the way Caroline's injury and recovery is going, we haven't heard too many tangible things, but like July, we could hopefully expect to see her back. I hope, right? Maybe even June. I'm trying not to push it. I'm just excited to see her and Sanchez together. But that's kind of the timeline, considering she got injured early October last year for North Carolina.